this video, I'm rolling with Dan. Dan is a 230-pound purple belt, and he teaches the kids class at the school. Now, I've never met Dan before because our training schedules are so different, but he told me he was already a fan of the channel, which I thought was really cool. So today is open mat, there's music playing, so I had to shut that, otherwise I would get a copyright strike. And I asked him to roll, even though he's big and scary. And he knows what I like to do because he watches the channel. So I'm just holding him off with my guard. I allowed him to get double wrist control. I think it's healthy to let people get grips that they wouldn't normally get or possibly pass your guard. You should be able to let people do that. You shouldn't be so hardwired that if somebody passes your guard, you lose your mind. Or it's this big dent to your ego. To me, it's experimental. So you can see there's quite a bit of wrist fighting. Really, what he should be fighting is my legs, which he does now. He switches to that. But I think to have an optimal control in this position, he needs to have my thighs. And I already had my right leg out past the knee. So it would be easy for me to hold him off. And I was able to escape, and now we reset in the middle. I have the inside grip on his neck. Normally that would have got 9 out of 10 people, but he's big and skilled, and the leverage just wasn't there. So here he's trying to underhook me and pass, underhook my leg, so I went for my underhook. And then I know I'm safe. Here he's trying to squeeze both sides. This is typical of a bigger opponent type of passing they like to do. So he's got both of my arms trapped, but he's in full guard. So he's going to have to let go of that eventually. So he's tried to switch to head control, and when he did, I looked for the reverse armbar, or to set up the reverse armbar. He pulled his arm out, and I laughed. I says, "Oh, that's because you watched the channel." I really feel that's why he saw that coming, or felt it coming. So there he put his knee up towards the ceiling, which was a good move to break hooks, break connections, make a new angle with your legs. And now he's back on my butterfly. You know, he's being very cautious. Here is a very subtle move, but I was able to sweep him. You have to rewind it and watch it a couple of times. It was very subtle. It seemed like nothing, but it was important. Because now I'm in a passing position against an opponent that outweighs me by 60 pounds. And here I go. He tried to put his legs around my head. He tried to make space, which are both good things to do. But I was able to get my knee on his waist, which is what I look for. That's all I care about in this position. See, right now he's pushing off on my upper body, but he should be pushing on my knee. So he could push on my upper body all he wants, but my knee is still pinning and containing. And there's a lot I could do from this position. So eventually, with everything he had, he was able to push my knee back. And now we're resetting from a similar position based on his suggestion. Because I would have just reset from the beginning. It doesn't matter to me. It's not a match. Here, I knew he was going to try to stand up, so I figured, let me see if I could stand up and push him over, which I couldn't. And now we're doing a little bit of the old knee wrestling that everybody loves. And I slide into a guard. I love that bicep control. Put the hand on the bicep, it prevents them from doing so much. So here he's looking for a double underpass again. Again, very typical of a larger opponent. They love smash passing, taking away your mobility. And when you see that coming, when butterfly guard, the underhook is the good defense. Here I'm looking to wrestle up, which I did successfully. These wrestle ups it doesn't look like a big deal all the time. It could be very subtle. But if it changes the position from a 60-pound larger opponent being on bottom now, here I could have passed very easily. But I'm on my knees and I'm kind of taking a breather there. I don't want to put so much effort that I'm breathing heavy. And that might require stalemating a certain position or pausing for a little bit. Because I make better decisions when I'm not out of breath. And I think that it's probably the same for most of you. You're not thinking well under an adrenaline dump where you're on the brink of your physicality. So here, if I wanted, I could just wrap my body around his and sprawl. But I'm coming off a very minor intercostal rib injury on the right side, so I have to baby and change what I'm doing a little bit. That's why this position looks a little weird. That's Jen and Gil in the background. You've seen other videos. Gil is a recent video rolling with the white belt, a session with a white belt. And Jen, we've have, 3 or 4 videos. She's a really good purple belt. So here I'm looking to incrementally slide my knee through. He tried to make space. He does that a lot, and that's a good thing to do. But when you make space, you have to change your framing. See, he stuck his knee in just recently. But you have to do it before I cut the distance again. But it's a step in the right direction. Here he just gets up, which is common in no-gi. It's hard to hold somebody down. If they want to get up, they can. And this is in MMA as well, you see this. So I stood up with him a little bit, and I felt his strength and power, and I decided to just pull guard. It's just so much safer for me. Chances are I'm not going to overpower this guy. But from guard, I can. So here I'm making sure I have that underhook. Now he did a mistake. He let his arm get in front of me, and I was able to move my leg away and let him fall back, which was a beautiful sweep. But he let that arm go too far. And that happens when somebody's trying to solve the mystery of your guard, and they take a little bit of an extra chance that they know isn't really going to be fruitful, but they don't weigh it properly in that moment. So I always go right to the gift wrap in this position. Now I'm trying to take away the space next to his neck very slowly. I'm putting my head on his arm. I'm pushing that into his neck, so it's starting to restrict his breathing. If I could pull his wrist off the mat, which I'm trying to do right here, and he feels it, so he gets desperate and turns to escape. And when I say desperate, meaning, he put a lot of strength into that escape. And he's not rolling with a lot of strength so far. He's trying to be technique driven, to the best he could, a man of his stature. Here again, a great control position. You see wherever he goes, my knee just stays there. It's not crushing him, it's containing. Now eventually he made enough space to clear it, using a ton of effort, and that's fine with me. As you can see, I'm not breathing with my mouth open. He made space and resets the position. Oh, and that ends the round. We actually did 2 rounds. So if you want to support the channel, I have a merch store, or you could buy me a coffee. Both are linked in the description. I don't have any other rolls with him to link yet, but I'm sure Dan and I will roll again one day, even though our schedules are much different. So thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe.